Hi, my name is Dana Weaver. Welcome to my channel, Seed of Fire, and thank you for tuning in. I am a trained and professional critical thinker. I chose an undergraduate major that required me to think critically about dense philosophical works. Law school further honed my critical thinking skills, as did my graduate degree in biotechnology. My profession requires me to think critically on a daily basis. Because I was and am confident in my ability to think critically, it never occurred to me to question whether I was thinking independently. But something I've learned over the last 2 years is that even trained critical thinkers can have their independence of thought compromised. In fact, in the age of information, gaining and maintaining independent thought requires affirmative effort. This video describes 10 values and habits that I use to help me maintain independent thinking as I explore various filters and filter bubbles. These rules are aspirational. I don't adhere to them all perfectly, but I do find them very useful, and I hope that you will too. Rule number 1. Our attention is worth millions of dollars. Value and guard it appropriately. For many of us, our greatest personal asset is our attention and where we choose to focus it. Human attention is a highly valuable resource because where human attention goes, money often follows. Consequently, our attention is meticulously tracked, hunted, and paid for, both on the internet and in real life. Things that we encounter are designed to capture and keep our attention. Every day, we're forced to make hundreds, if not thousands, of micro decisions about where to focus our attention. This is an abnormal state for the human mind to exist in, and the stress makes us vulnerable to exploitation. If you are a human on the internet, especially if you have a smartphone, there is a near 100% chance that your biological vulnerabilities are being exploited to direct your attention and make money for other people. Amazingly, we have the power to end or at least greatly mitigate our own exploitation simply by being mindful about where we focus our attention. Personally, I do this by practicing situational awareness on the internet, which will be the subject of a separate video in the future because there's too much to say about it here. Number 2, embrace your ability to suspend judgment and belief. You don't have to take a position on anything if you don't want to, especially if you don't feel like you have enough information. It is 100% okay to say, I don't know, or I'm not sure what the facts are, or just I'm confused. We live in a world of alternative facts and fake news. If you're not hopelessly confused at least some of the time, you're probably not thinking hard enough about things. 3, value and seek out primary sources. Because of the alternative facts and the fake news, we have to be extra skeptical of information that comes our way. Seeking out primary sources is the best way to do this. If you're given a partial quote, seek out the context, seek out the full quote. Assign more weight to on-the-record sources than anonymous sources. If possible, find the original picture or the original video, and always look for the context. And savor this time, because the days of being able to trust any videos or any photos are rapidly drawing to a close. 4, value and actively seek out truth. People who are seeking truth must keep an open mind, but not so open that their brain falls out, as the saying goes. Truth-seeking is a balancing act between approaching new information with skepticism and also a willingness to be persuaded. It's a balancing act because if you go too far on the side of skepticism, you're in danger of solipsism, being only sure that your own mind is real. But if you go too far to the being willing to be persuaded, you're in danger of having your opinions bounce around like a ping pong ball. Truth-seeking is finding the balance between these two things, and it means cultivating a long-term change in mindset. Elevating finding the truth as one of your core values will help guide you in every aspect of your life. 5, diversity is our strength. The more information you have from the more varied sources, the better you understand the world and other people's positions in the world. Even if the information you're getting is not itself true or correct, you're learning a truth. Namely, that someone is putting that information out into the world either because they believe it's true or because they want others to believe it's true. And that is, in and of itself, valuable information. We should change out our filters on a fairly regular basis. This may seem obvious, but in practice, we get comfortable. It's difficult to find new sources, and we get stuck in inertia, so we keep listening to the same ones. In addition, we might find it uncomfortable to listen to people's views who disagree with us. In the real world, go to events and places where you encounter people who occupy different positions in the world. We are increasingly fractured among tribal lines, partisan, racial, ethnic, religious, and various other tribal distinctions. It's an imminently dangerous situation. And the best way to combat it is by meeting real people in the real world who share different positions than we do. 6, think about the world in terms of power. Any conflict that you see in the world can usually be understood, at least in part, as a power struggle. A struggle to gain power, limit power, maintain power, or exercise power. Understanding who holds the power and what kind of power they hold can help you better understand the world. For example, understanding that those with the power to censor hold power highlights why fighting against censorship is fighting for the disempowered. People who hold real power think about the world in this way, and so should we. 7, be highly skeptical of labels. We should let people tell us who they are in their own words. Self-identified labels can be a useful way to convey information about ourselves to other people in the world. However, often labels are put on other people as a way to shut down a line of inquiry on a basis other than the merits. I call them thought-terminating labels because their actual purpose is to terminate your thoughts. They tell you that if a subject or a person bears that label, you don't have to think about it or consider it any more deeply. Examples of thought-terminating labels include labeling something a conspiracy theory or a person a conspiracy theorist, a racist, a sexist, or a political extremist. It can also include shaming someone for asking a question. For example, if you ask a question and somebody responds with only a Nazi or an idiot would ask that question. We should keep in mind that in any situation where a label is put on someone else without their consent, there are 2 people involved, the labeler and the labelee. Inherent in any such situation is a judgment by the labeler that the labelee warrants that label. So we should think about whether we trust the person who's doing the labeling's judgment. In addition to that, labeling someone so that others won't listen to what they have to say is an exercise of power. It's worth considering whether that power is being exercised for good. My advice, if you hear a thought-terminating label, ignore it and continue pursuing the line of inquiry on the merits. 8, seek out censored ideas and speech. Anytime someone is censored, it is almost always because an entity with power exercised their power to prevent an idea from being shared. The fact that somebody is exercising their power to prevent an idea from being shared suggests that the idea itself has power. It might be powerfully good, in which case you're being deprived of good information to which you are entitled. Or it may be powerfully bad, in which case we're all being deprived of our ability to hone our own arguments and knock down a bad idea on its merits with more speech. Either way, it's information that you and others are entitled to, and it is our duty to seek it out. 9, practice gratitude. Practicing gratitude helps us see the good through all the bad. It helps us maintain an air of optimism in a world that can otherwise seem very bleak. Practicing gratitude helps to maintain our compassion, it cultivates our humility, and it increases our love for self and others. It also makes you happier, and that's a fact. Gratitude also brings a direct benefit because it acts like a lantern. Where you shine it, it reveals to you the tools that you have available in your quest to make the world a better place. You will never regret taking a few moments out of each day to remember the things for which you are grateful. 10, always choose the side of free speech and free thought. If we lose those, then we've lost. Thank you for watching this video, and please let me know in the comments below whether you like these rules, whether you practice any of them already, and what other ones you would add to the list. The next video in this series is called DFID, and it is linked below. Thanks for watching.